Okay. All right, it is 7:05. Calling to order the Zoning Board of Appeals of Lakeville's Thursday, June 16th meeting at the Lakeville Public Library. We have three hearings tonight. The first one that we will start off with is the continuation of the Solana hearing. So he's looking to he's requesting a special permit under 6.1.3 and 7.4 to add a garage that would be within the required setbacks on a pre-existing non-conforming lot. So last time we spoke, we were looking for some updated engineered survey plans, and we had some questions about the setback that some board members and neighbors had concerned with. So you have brought back into us tonight a new set of plans that more accurately depicts what we're looking for. So at this point, what I'll do is, unless you have anything in particular you want to start off with, I think it may be best for us to see if the board has any questions on what you submitted, and then we'll continue from there. So does anyone have any questions, or are we satisfied with the plans that we have?
Well, I have a question. The plan is dated December 1st, 2020. I would like to know if whoever Mr. Lamont Healy, if he actually drew that on there.
So
no, we just had it updated. We went to Wareham and we just had it updated. So you should have given him the actual updated one. Where he added, we used the same surveyor for the update.
Yeah,
Frank Westgate.
we just did it, we just got the plans.
Yeah, we just did it.
This is stamped by Lamont Healy.
Right, Frank Westgate works for Lamont Hill.
Yeah, but it's Frank Westgate, and he originally did it. And he, like I said, he just did this. We paid him $450. He just did this a couple days ago.
It's on the L. Francis Associates. And it's dated right here on the bottom, revised 6/12.
Okay, I see it.
Did they put any stakes in?
So, according to the revised date, it's been done within the past few days.
Few days, okay.
Any other questions from any of the board members in regards to the updated? Are we good with
Yeah, I
that?
had a question.
Go.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to tell from the original drawing how, it looks like the garage is being proposed to be pushed back a little bit from the prior plans.
Yeah,
Maybe
8 feet.
8 feet.
I set it back 8 feet, yes. From the original plan.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Chris.
How far out from the existing dwelling is the proposed garage going to stick? How far off?
From the existing, it's 4 feet. It
4
says right on
feet.
here.
So you're extending towards the street an additional 4 feet. All right, I see that now.
Right, it was 12 feet.
Okay.
But now I went back because the the neighbors wanted even more.
So we did concede, and we're losing a living
We're
room
losing the
window.
windows.
We're losing our living room windows there
And
too.
we're
which
losing
you
the
can
fireplace
see.
is gonna be inside the building.
I thought there was some concern whether it was a 16 or a 20. I thought we were going to go to a 16-foot garage.
Yeah, but since I set it back, I figured to stick with a 20 by 22.
Yeah, because we're pushing it back.
We pushed it back 8 feet. I mean, I do need the, my wife's, she needs the garage to go inside. In there, in the winter, that gets all frozen because the hill, all the water comes down. And it's like an iceberg out there. We get 2-3 inches of water and then it turns into ice out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be coming and going from work. And I've already fractured my wrist. I can't do anything else now. I don't want to fracture anything else. So I need the garage because that road, it gets so icy.
And we're 4 lots away from the water. They're 5
They're
or 6
fine,
lots
she's
away.
6 lots.
Just keep talking about that property, not worried about the other folks, so.
Okay.
One thing
Jerry, go
that
ahead.
we discussed at the last meeting was the drainage issue, right, off of the structure itself.
Well, the drainage
So-
issue was,
Well, before you bring that up, right, I'm just saying that none of that information is included in the updates here tonight.
Well, it's
So-
not included in the updates tonight because it was specifically, I thought, about the garage is what it was. So to me, this is just, can we build the garage? And that was something that was going to be separate, the drainage system.
The drainage system, I talked to my neighbor,
Yeah.
and one time it downpoured, he had a little water on the side, and I had water on my side too. And I mean, that's an old wetlands years ago, where they built these places, so that you're gonna get water. The water level is pretty high. And I just had a septic system raised. I lost my whole backyard. I had to raise it for almost 4 feet. And I put a new pump up system in there. Everything passed as far as the drainage and everything with the Board of Health. The only reason I was gonna do a drainage, just to satisfy them, and all I was gonna do is dig a 3-foot hole, and I already have the pipe and everything. I'll just show you the pictures here that I have. I'm gonna dig a 3 or 4 feet hole, put the pipe, perforated pipe in there, and put stone in there. And it was just to keep him happy, and keep, because I don't have any water, and there's no water. Everything's built down towards the street. And the same as the neighbor next door, everything goes down towards the street.
And they've actually drained into our yard. So they took their hose and
They
they
stuck
put it over.
hoses in my yard,
And they
loaded
drained
it up.
into
I
our
was
yard.
flooding my whole yard one time.
Okay.
And I don't wanna get into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we're not gonna,
Right.
we're talking
So that's why
about,
this is
So the
just
drainage
allowed.
was something just to satisfy them. And it's not something I have to do because I have all the plans right here, and it doesn't require any drainage at all.
Yeah, we did do a whole septic system.
Writing my plans, when I did the septic system, I put an addition in, the Board of Health approved everything, and he never mentioned anything about drainage, everything ran perfectly, he approved it, and they were okay with it.
Yeah, and this is
So I
gonna,
will still do the drain.
why don't we hold off on the drain for a
Yeah.
second? Let's talk about the plans and any additional questions in regards to the garage before I open it up to anyone else in the audience. Does any of the board members have any other questions in regards to this? Okay. Does anyone in the audience wish to speak in regards to the petition? And whoever wants to come up first, just remember, state your name, address, and what we want to avoid is this is a continuation of a hearing. So if you're going to continue to talk about what we talked about last time, I'm not going to be rude and not on it purposefully, but I may shut you off only because we don't need to continually hear the same things again. So please, whoever wants to come up first.
You want to hear the same thing, right?
Not the same thing.
Okay, fine. First off, I'm gonna get the land surveyed.
Your
and
name
I've
and
already-
address.
My name is Michael David King. I am at 27 Pilgrim Road. I am on the downhill side now of his property.
Okay.
I used to be uphill, I'm now downhill. I've been looking into several surveyors, and one of the first things that they've all told me is they're gonna come out and they're gonna stake my property lines out. I've got several pieces, respected, I've looked into it, guys that you've accepted in town, and they're gonna come out. I pretty much settled on one guy. I'm gonna give him an email tomorrow and I'm gonna pay to have it surveyed properly. The first thing they've all told me is they're gonna come out and they're gonna put stakes in the ground, they're gonna cap them, so we're gonna know where the property lines are. Right now, there are no property lines out there. I don't know the last time anybody's come out there to take a look at the property, see what's going on. Anybody?
That's really irrelevant for us.
Yes, it is relevant, because in the meantime,
Sir, excuse me.
since the last time that we've had the meeting, he's now had 2 more truckloads of dirt, and he's now staked off another piece of property in the back corner of his property, which isn't even indicated on this.
Sir,
Okay,
if you
there's
have an
gonna have
issue,
another-
excuse me, sir, if you have an issue with what he's doing at the property right now, we're here to look at a petition. If you have an issue, you can go to the building
With the
commissioners
petition, I'm
with
gonna have it surveyed.
excuse me.
He's now
Sir,
all-
excuse me, I'll end the hearing right now. If you have an issue with something he's doing right now on the property, you can go to the building commissioner's office and put a complaint in. That is the proper procedure to go through. It's not to tell us, we have no authority over going out there right now and staking what property lines are. If he turns around and does the project and puts it in the wrong place, puts it on your property because it was staked incorrectly, you have an issue definitely against him, and you'd have an issue against whoever surveyed it. So it's in your right to do it. It's not going to
Okay, what
stop
about
us
where
from
the-
proceeding
okay,
forward.
When I'm looking at this piece of property here, and I have that his house only goes out to a certain point where the proposed addition is, what about the screen house that already comes off of that? Do you have that on your plots? he's already made an addition, a screen house off the back of his proposed addition.
If he's put something there that he
He's
should have done
already
and
done
didn't
it.
pull a permit, again, you can go to the building commissioner's office and lodge a
So you
complaint.
guys aren't doing it, now you're gonna approve in a garage?
We're approving
Well,
what
he's
he's
already approved
applying
something, and
for.
I was also gonna put in a gazebo in the back that he's also staked off. And he's
You have-
added 2 more pieces of,
Sir, do you have anything more about the specific petition he has in front of us
I'm
right now?
saying no,
Okay, so,
and that's still the same, no. All right, because he keeps going along, he keeps getting pushed, and you're telling me now I have to go through somebody else?
it's not within our purview.
So what's this about? You know he's gonna get closer to the property lines. If he goes back and he keeps coming over 22 feet, where's he gonna be?
I have no idea
Anybody
which way
who
this,
looks,
I have
you
no
don't even
idea.
have any idea.
This board hasn't approved anything or not approved anything at this point. Anyone else from the public
There
want to?
isn't even a stake as to the property lines.
Lee Brienzo, 25 Pilgrim Road.
Go ahead, Liam.
I don't know if you gentlemen all seen my letter.
Yeah, I was gonna, you can read it into the record if you want, I was gonna read it into the record, but you're more than happy to do it, you'll save me the effort and the energy.
Oh, okay. All right. Dear board members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, my name is Lee Brienzo of 25 Pilgrim Road. I am writing on behalf of myself and family pertaining to Mr. Leonardo Solana Jr. Mr. Solana Jr. is requesting a special permit, as you are all aware, that several abutters are against due to many reasons. We are against for many reasons, starting with our home, Lakeviews. As I stated, we were the first home in the area, and my grandfather built it to purposefully look at the water. This has always been so serene and just a wonderful place to live and grow up. If the special permit was approved, all we would see is a huge tall garage. Mr. Solana Jr. stated at last meeting, all the houses in the area had garages. This, however, is false. There is one neighbor way up the street in a house that was actually built off-site that has the only garage. Churchill Shores has always been for cottages of 2 to 3 season houses, very few all-season houses. Mr. Solana Jr.'s home has been under construction and not finished for a long time now, with a lot of the land being occupied and very little not used. We are also concerned that Mr. Solana Jr. has a business certificate for an auto sales business that is at 18 Staple Shore Road. With him saying that 29 Pilgrim Road is going to be his primary residence, we are extremely concerned that he may try to move his business or use a garage to work on the cars that he sells at the Pilgrim Road property. There are no businesses allowed in Churchill Shores. The water and drainage issues are also a huge issue as flooding is occurring. We urge the board to please deny this request or only approve it if Mr. Solana Jr. agrees to move the large garage back where the house begins. Thank you for your consideration to this request. Respectfully, the Brienzo family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else specific to add in addition to what the letter stated?
Well, since then, I've kind of, looked into a few things. Obviously, I'm very concerned about the impervious situation as far as how much is being done. And obviously, if it's going to need a variance as opposed to a special permit, which is just like I said, keeps going. And I know the other stuff doesn't have to do with you guys. I do understand that as far as the building and how there's open permits, electrical work on the addition, that there's no electrical permit pulled that's been started, and on and on and on with all that stuff. So that's obviously an issue. That's been since 2019, we're in 2022, and I don't see the building permit, is open, but not getting approved every 6 months like it's supposed to.
Again, that's through the
Another-
commissioner's office, so let's
correct.
stick to the application, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
We want to stick to what he's
Yes.
here for.
Yes. So I would say the impervious situation, I'm just concerned. You said that one today. Can we take a look at that as far as him saying he wants to now keep it the 20 by 22? I didn't get to see whatever he submitted. Is that possible?
Chris, yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm leaning on it.
Not too much.
Okay.
Refresh my memory, Mr. Solana, what is the lot coverage? I don't think, is it stated on here?
No, it's not.
No, it's not on there. The dwelling just doesn't have its dimensions.
Yeah. Okay, well, obviously, you can't go over 25%,
So
so,
I think it's like 42 or something.
okay. We could always condition the permit to make sure if we were to approve it. Ma'am, are you trying to figure out the impervious?
Yeah, I was just.
Yeah, we can condition that, you don't need to worry
You
about that.
can't, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, there's things on here saying this is updated.
We could,
that
if we were to go,
aren't.
if we were to go forward, we can condition it to make sure he meets the bylaw, which is no more than 25%. so.
Okay, that I appreciate, because like I said, there are things missing off of this saying it's current. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And obviously it's in there, and I didn't know about the whole 4 feet thing, and I'm still hoping that, you know, obviously they changed the windows and made them smaller and added the door in that section. The garage was always going to have the chimney in the way either way. And so I'm obviously hoping that they keep it with the house so we don't lose our lake views,
Understood.
obviously. And obviously, the lot coverage, the roof drainage, setbacks, proposed location, hiring an engineer, boundary survey, and existing conditions where everything's located. That's pretty much everything.
We appreciate you coming up and speaking to us, so,
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate it very much.
Anyone else in the audience?
You want to see?
Okay.
I got pictures.
Go ahead, if you have anything else to add, Mr. Solano, then I'll board as any other questions and we can move forward.
I'm not sure, but I mean, I don't think you guys live there, do you? She does? Oh, I never seen her there, that's why. I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Solano.
But anyway, so I got, this is the view that from my house to the street. And this is the view that's saying that I'm gonna block. And this is their house. This is the view also. And this is the house next to me. This is what they grow tomatoes out there.
Okay, that's
And,
good. I grow tomatoes too.
Yeah.
It's good to have in the
In
summer.
the front. But, right here, so, these are pictures you can look at.
Okay,
But, what I'm saying is, even if, they were talking about the view, but even if I put a fence, it's gonna block the view anyways. But,
okay.
And Lenny, is it okay? And actually,
with my wife,
they're in the bylaws.
Figured that out. She's running the show, I
well, you
can
know,
In the bylaws, there's nothing that says that you can't build a structure that's going to be of use to you. So in Massachusetts, there's a few cities that have it, but it's strictly for trees. It isn't for garages or buildings or anything like that. So there's no legality to actually building this garage that we want to build. And we did try to talk to them, and we said we were going to push it back, but they said, no, push it all the way back. And due to where the electrical box is and where the septic system is. So then Lenny and I looked on the other side of the building, and there's just not enough room on the other side of the building. And this is going to be a forever home. So I need to have a garage because I need to be able to drive in, bring the groceries in. It gets very icy out there, and I do not want another fall. I have osteoporosis, and I have to be careful. And this is going to be the forever home. So I do need the garage, and I do want to be neighborly. But there's only so much we can do because of the land that is there.
Understood. The question was brought up about the used car.
Oh, that's,
The used car lot is out of 18 Staple Shore Road, right, we reside now.
Right.
We also own that home here. And I did that 30 years ago, and I'm grandfathered in. Everything's, they build houses across the street now. It's all residential, where Mullen Hill School is.
Yep.
It's all residential now, except for my home, it's grandfathered in. The town told me, when I sell the property, they're not gonna reissue it to somebody
yeah,
else.
that's not coming with
So that's
us.
not coming with us.
You have no intention on applying for
Absolutely
anything?
not.
Not that it would get approved anyways, but
Yeah.
just for the record, so everyone knows that your intention isn't to
Yeah, no, the car
do
lot.
anything business-wise
Once
out
I
of it.
sell the house and the Staple Shore Road and move in there permanently, that's
Okay,
gone.
okay. Anything additional?
No,
Okay, why don't you stick around there in case Chris, go ahead.
So is this a 1 or 2 car garage that you're proposing?
It's a 1.5.
One
I have
and
a
a half.
motorcycle and a car,
So what size door are you gonna put on
a
it?
9-foot
A
door.
9-foot door on a 20-foot wide garage?
Yes, on the
Okay.
right side.
And you
then
just
I'm
want the
gonna
extra storage?
I'm probably gonna have a regular door to the left of the,
Okay. I'm just doing the math in my head, all right?
Yeah, be able to go into
it's
the
not
house.
enough room really for 2 cars.
No, it's not. No. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Or Mark, welcome.
Thank you, sorry I'm late, I was at the dog place.
No apologies
I
necessary.
wanted
We
to go
managed
play.
without you for a little
Yes.
while. We gave you 5 minutes, but I said, that's it. We're not making everyone wait forever. So this is on tonight. So do you
Yes.
have any comments that you need to add to this for us, or?
I mean, the lot coverage should be calculated and shown on here. You know, he does have the setback dimensions on here, I mean, so you just brought this tonight? 'Cause
Yeah, it was
didn't-
just done in,
Yeah, he handed us tonight. I mean,
Oh, okay.
it looks like they
Alright.
just went out and
It
did
was
it a
just done
couple
this
of days
week.
ago, so.
All right, because.
very expensive,
Yeah.
last minute.
Yeah, so I think the surveyor needs to calculate the lot coverages to make sure that it's correct, and then that if it needs to be adjusted, you know.
Right, no, we would not want to approve it for any more than 25%. We want to make sure it's
Right.
under, so.
And
Now, the stakes are there. There's stake on the back of the property, and stakes on all 4 corners.
To mark the property line.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
They're all there, it's just that they don't know
if it's
where it is.
wrong, you get a bigger, if it's wrong and you do this, you get a bigger problem on your
Oh,
hands, so.
believe me, I know that. I know. I've done this twice.
Just to clarify the question, you moved it back 4 feet
From the original plan,
from what you proposed last month, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
yes, sir.
In exchange, you
Well,
widened
8 feet, I'm sorry.
8 feet. In exchange, you said, okay, I'm gonna move it back to 20 foot instead of 16-foot width. Is that right?
He's gonna go 20-foot wide? Is that-
Hang on, sir, the
21.
questions for Mr. Solana?
20 wide by 22 long.
Right, but last month it was, what were the dimensions?
Last time it was 20, it's always been 20 by 22.
There was discussion about if he could shrink that down.
Right.
Give a little more, so it wasn't on there, but he hasn't changed the width, but you have changed the,
The depth.
I just moved the whole
I
thing.
mean, you changed it, the
whole
setback,
garage.
you set back to the front, you've changed the
Yes.
setback to the
I
front, but
went
you've kept
back
the width
8
the
feet,
same.
just to kind of accommodate neighbors so they don't
view.
get blocked from the view.
So it's just 4 feet out now from.
It's only 4 feet out,
whatever
yes.
what their view is at this current point.
so my question is, if you shifted it back 4 more feet, what's along, I don't recall exactly, I've been out
I
there.
could
but-
shift it back 4 more feet,
Right,
but the way his angle, it's gonna be even closer to it's still gonna have about 3.5 feet on the other end.
The problem is the more he shifts it back, the more he's
Right.
into the
It's closer
setback.
to that.
well,
Because it's angled, so it's gonna get right up against the,
I mean, I'm not gonna be able to drive it on the back anyways, if I have the other side.
well, no, I have to reduce the width. I mean, and then until we know the actual lot coverage, you may have to reduce the width anyways, so. Because it
I mean,
looks
I'm
like,
willing to
looks
work
like
with
you're
Let me
gonna
ask
be.
the question.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
sir.
What
looks
if we
like
brought
you're
you
gonna
to,
be pretty
would-
close.
would you be willing to shrink it down to like 18? Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I'm trying to work with everybody.
No, I get you.
So, Mr. Chairman, can I address
Go
the gentleman at 27? You're at
Yes.
27? How far is your deck off the property line, about, approximately?
The end of my deck?
Yep,
Oh.
from me to you away?
12 feet,
12 feet, closer.
maybe 10, 12 feet.
10, 12 feet, all right. If you're gonna be at 2 feet, then, all right, so I'm just concerned about,
We don't know.
exposures.
Yeah, we're not quite sure, I'll be honest with you. I
So-
know he says he had some stakes
All
in
right.
the back, right?
All right, approximately, that's fine.
Everything's approximate at this point. That's one of the main reasons why I want to get another surveyor in here. And I want to make sure we have real cap rebar posts and then put where they belong. And once we get that established, then we can really know where, because I know you want to do stuff in the back. Did you already put more trucks and loads of dirt back there?
All right, and then another
Just
question.
since the last meeting.
So everything's through the chairman. And then I have one more question for you. Do you have a shed to the rear of your property on that property line?
Yes, I do, it's on my
Okay.
plot plan.
And that's, what, a couple feet off?
No, they-
Well, that's,
No, that's right.
I'd say 4 feet.
Okay,
Oh,
all
no
right.
way.
So I'm just worried about, I'm just concerned about the proximity of the buildings across the lot line. That's my concern.
Access.
That's what I'm trying to get. All right. It's not so much access, it's more,
It's also where
Planes
my
jumping.
well is, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay,
My well
yeah.
is right in front of where my shed is.
okay.
Mr.
He's got his
Solana,
shed right on my line, right on the line,
okay, we've asked the question.
It's about 4 feet.
the metal one.
Gentlemen,
No, not the metal one. Dude, the metal shed. is where they put
Excuse
the-
me, sir.
Yeah, I'll talk.
listen, hang on. First, yes, you're right, you gotta talk through me, but secondly, you just can't talk. You gotta wait till you ask the question. You
I
don't
understand.
have,
I
okay?
understand you asked me a question, I'm going back, I'll understand, I won't do that again.
Right, unfortunately, board's asking questions now. If somebody has a question for you, we'll ask the question.
Yep.
Do we have any other comments from the board? Any other questions? I'm gonna give you one more shot at a question. One
you
more,
know-
go ahead, ask.
Come on, I'm trying to make a point here, all right? Number one, the land hasn't really, since 2000 and, what is it, 19? Right? And the posts have been buried by dirt. As far as anything, now,
Okay, let me answer your concern. You may be 100% right for all I know, okay? I'm not saying you're not. You may be 100% right. But he's relying on the survey he has gotten. It's stamped, that's what we have to rely on. Now, if that's inaccurate and he goes ahead and does this project and you have somebody go out there 6 days, 6 months, 6 years from now, and you have it surveyed and you find out he's into your property line or he didn't do this correctly, that doesn't prevent you from turning around and taking corrective action at that point. I'm not going to get into the legalities of it because I'm not an attorney, but my point is whether you do it now or whether you do it later, he's relying on this, it's stamped, that's what we have to rely on, and we have to move forward with it. So you can still go do it, and you find out next week that it's wrong, then it basically knocks everything out if we even were to approve this.
okay, I understand, okay. You're right, going forward, I would rather not have to deal with a lawyer, right? I would rather settle this, like gentlemen. If I'm reading this right, okay, he has 22.3 from the back corner of his house, right? Not his porch or anything like that, because he has another deck coming off there. In fact, you see where the proposed addition is?
Proposed
Can I-
garage.
Right here.
Yes, yeah, the proposed garage.
He's got a good picture of it.
He's using a different plan.
Already, this is what we're already dealing with, okay? He's come off of here with a deck, okay? I know, whatever, it is what it is. Now, we're talking from 22.3. If he comes over here 20 feet,
This, I think.
which we don't know where this is,
We're just talking about.
I'm sorry, I got
He's
Hang on, guys.
I think he's looking at this.
all right, if he's coming off of here 20 feet, that's gonna put him within 2 feet of my property, right? Along here, isn't that correct?
Yeah, I think that's
Right
what he's
there,
proposing.
sir, 2.87 feet.
2.87 feet.
This is the latest.
Right, okay, now that also doesn't even take into account here, right? Because that's already here.
Okay,
Telling you,
that's not before us.
whatever, just telling you, because
No, we
if
understand.
he's going 20 feet here, and he's already done this, what do you think's gonna happen here? You don't think this is gonna end up here?
If it does, we can't prevent what somebody does if they don't follow what the permit
So who is
issued.
who is gonna be following up and who is gonna be responsible?
I hate to do this to our building commissioner, but our building commissioner is responsible for monitoring building projects.
Okay.
So if he
Building
goes over
commissioner, not the-
that 2.87, or if we bring it down to 18,
What is the minimum,
4.87,
what is the minimum that is acceptable here?
it's whatever the board decides.
Yeah,
Are you asking for what the bylaw is, or what? He's here because he doesn't meet the
These are
bylaw.
pre-existing non.
He's already here because he doesn't miss the bylaw and he's already gonna try and get it beyond that.
That's what we're here for, if somebody
Okay,
wants to go
what I'm
outside the
saying, he's
bylaw.
already gone past here, what do you think he's gonna do there?
Again, a lot of your issues have to do with work he's
see what
done,
I'm
what you
saying?
think he's
And I
going to
am
do.
gonna get it probably.
We're not,
I don't
sir, we're not the
know.
enforcement arm. I understand it's
I know I'm
frustrating.
not the enforcement arm.
We're not the enforcement arm.
Oh,
We're not.
I was gonna say, I don't wanna be.
No, well, we aren't, so we're not gonna be, but, all right, I think we've heard enough on this
You
one.
see what I'm saying, all right?
I do, thank you for your comments, you can, okay. All right, Mr. Solano, I think we've gotten all the information we need, I don't think we're gonna get any more out of anyone here. So, unless my board has, or our board has any other questions, anyone have any thoughts as to what they would like to do at this point? I mean, Mr. Solano did say he would be open to bringing it to the 18.
Yeah, to do that.
I'd like to see it go down to 18 by 22, shrunk back and pushed back even with the front of the dwelling. I'd like Mr. Resnick's idea of calculation on area so that we're not over the 22. I'm looking at a Google map from last year and you put a large addition on the back as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right, so
20
I
by
think all
22.
that needs to be calculated for impervious coverage so that we're not exceeding the 25%. If not, we'll have to come back for a variance as well. So I'd like to see that. You would be amendable to going to 18, you still have a 1.5 car garage.
Yes, sir.
You'd be able to get,
I'm
trust
willing
me,
to
I'm not
Bringing
sure.
it,
I'm not
bringing it to
sure.
that 18 allows us to have you push it back,
Yeah,
so you're not
so
going over the
it's-
property
it's
line.
more than reasonable.
Yep,
Okay.
There's more than reasonable, yeah.
all right.
We would, potentially, it sounds like we would condition the permit that you'd, not even just condition, sounds like what the safer thing to do would be condition the permit to make sure revised plans showing stamped that currently what's there, everything that's there, does not exceed the 25%.
So I have to
before
go
the-
to another surveyor to do that, or?
No, we'll go
Maybe
back
we-
to the same survey.
Maybe we could do
Well,
an
I think,
as-built.
I think he meant you have to go pay someone to do that. Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah,
yeah,
we do.
that's the way to do it, yeah. That's the only way for us to
You're gonna
verify
have to go back
it.
to him to get an as-built anyway.
Get an existing
building
conditions plan, an as-built,
Yeah,
exactly,
so-
everything
So,
that's there.
and then maybe on the as-built, we condition the permit that we confirm that it's not past the 25% impervious rule at that point. Would you be amendable to that, Mr. Commissioner? or,
I'd
Mr.
love,
Chairman?
Mr., don't turn me into a commissioner. I don't want any more responsibility. I'm trying to get rid of responsibilities, so. I am, why don't you, is that a motion? You may have to clean it up a little bit, but.
All right, I'll take a whack at it. I'll put a motion on the table that we shrink the garage to 18 by 22, 22 parallel to the long angle of the lot or perpendicular to the road. It's even, the front of the garage is even with the front of the house.
No, 4 feet forward.
4 feet
It was
forward?
12 feet forward.
I understand, but
I think the
motion I'm
fact
making
of
is
you
it's gonna be
shrinking it
even
to
with the front of the
18,
house.
just so you understand, the fact of shrinking
I'm
it to
shrinking the
18.
width, not the,
No,
I
but
have
you can
a,
set it, but you can set it back now, because shrinking it to 18 is.
Yeah, but I have a
The electrical
electrical
box.
box there that
You
it would
can't
cost
come
like
in.
$4,000 to move it on the outside of the
So it's the
garage.
the service is on
It's
the
a
outside of the
200 amp
house?
service, yes, sir. And that can't be inside the garage, right? I believe.
No,
Actually,
then we have a
Chris would
septic
probably
tank.
know that.
He has a picture, and he's a master electrician on Open Hills.
Oh,
It can and can't.
yeah. It can't be inside the garage, so I can't move it
But
further
it
back.
wasn't in the way if he went that far back, he has a picture to prove it. And we
No, it
never met,
is.
you never tried
No.
to meet me, I wanted that on record because you made it.
No, I don't even know who you are, ma'am.
So,
So-
yeah, they asked you to kind of try to meet us and
I'll just,
work it out.
I'll see her and her husband. Yeah.
Sir, you have a picture of this
I have a picture of the electric meter.
electric meter? Who has a picture of the electric meter?
On one of the pictures.
We
You
do.
don't have a lot of pictures.
Oh, you have it? Okay. It's also one, I took one of the
16
pictures.
by 22 is what it's gonna do.
Yeah. So,
It's probably 16 by 22.
The electrical box in the front of the house
Yeah.
is 22
Yeah,
and
the
a half
meter,
feet
the service can.
from the start of the house to that.
I don't know why. Every house has them inside. I bought a few.
It's 22.5 feet. So the garage is 22 feet.
So that is a good example. So that's the 4 feet where the stake is sticking out. But from here to that, it's 22 feet.
Hang on, folks, all we wanted was the picture. We're not having a meeting
Okay.
up here.
Okay.
Thank you, we get to see the picture. Take your
It
sheet
was
back with
16
you.
by 22.
yeah, well, that makes it.
And also the septic.
Yeah,
Hang
the
on.
septic tank.
All right, Mr. Solano, my apologies, Chris. Make
So
your
you
motion.
can do a remote, you can keep the service on the inside of the house where it is, and then you can run a new line and then move the meter back over. So it is possible, and it's not a huge expense. So it's just the meter and the service line would be moved back a few feet.
I don't know, I just put a new meter, it was $4,000.
Right, but, so it would just be the meter, the line from the meter to the service on the inside of the dwelling. That's, so that would be the concern. I didn't know about that when I was making the motion, so, we're back to zero.
There
Well, you
are
can make, you
garages.
can,
You know.
ma'am, you can,
All right. How is, can I ask another question to the,
you can do whatever you'd
All right.
like.
so the person at 27 again, is this gonna, if he's 4 feet out from the front of the house, does that
No,
block your view?
No, definitely
Okay.
not.
So then that's still a concern, and then the proximity to the lot line.
4 feet out, this is what 4 feet out is gonna look like. Everything.
No, we're all set, we don't need to, see- we don't
I
need
get
to
it.
see anything
I
else.
understand.
We don't need to see anything else.
All right.
Actually, Solanos, could you please sit down? Let the board do what we need to do here.
I think she's saying we're done.
Yeah, and then if you go less than 22, you won't get a car in there, so that's the concern. If it can't be slid back, then I'm not in favor of it, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Ma'am, we're discussing, I should have, we're not taking any more questions.
No, it's not a
Yes,
question, but the
no,
last time.
we're not hearing, ma'am,
Didn't we agree?
John, you gotta close the
16?
public hearing.
We agreed to 20 to 16 last time.
do we need a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
We're not doing roll call anymore, everyone's used to roll call. All opposed? Okay, the public hearing's closed. So, is anyone in favor of making a motion? Do you want to relook at trying to come up with another plan to see if there's any way to slide that back further with the electrical box? And the reason I'm asking that is if I'm not getting any, if the board's not having any traction on looking to make a motion, if we turn around and deny it, then you're going to be prevented from coming back to us for 2 years before you can do anything again. So I don't want to put you in that position.
Well, all I'm saying is, if I put a 6-foot fence there, it's gonna block the view anyways, I have the right to put a fence. I'm trying to do, I moved it back, I'm trying to do the most sensible thing for everybody to get along. I wanna get along, I don't wanna be friends with my neighbors, but I wanna get along with my neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
I've always have. I mean, I'm a retired trooper from Mass State Police for 25 years, and I've got along with many, many people, and I get along with all my neighbors. Doesn't mean they're my friends that I hang out with. But, you know, I'm a very private person.
Have you measured exactly how far it is from the electrical box to the front of your house?
No, it's not. Because I didn't wanna put it inside the garage, because that would.
No, I understand that. My point is, do we know that it is more than 22 feet? Or less than 22 feet from the front of the
If I go right
house?
to the edge of the, I did measure right in front of the, I can go 22 feet to the front of the house. But the right again,
But blocking both the windows.
I would block both windows. I'm already blocking one window for the living
Or we
room.
can see it to go back.
I won't have any
blocking one
windows in the living room. It'll be just a fireplace there, with no window. I'm trying to get a little sunshine inside the house. I mean, my 80-year-old age, I'm gonna be rocking in wheelchairs, and, you know, someday, hopefully.
But if it's a garage anyway.
But I thought if there was no viewing law, so there's actually no law of
I
viewing
don't
law.
understand this.
Legally, if I had an
There's nothing
attorney.
legal.
Any other thoughts?
But if you block
Anyone?
your window, the garage is gonna block the window.
But so legally, I can put up. a-
Ma'am, please. All right, well, we do not have the motion to move forward. Do you want to continue and
Yes, I do.
come up with something
I'd like
else?
to get it done, sir.
I'm going to give you the option to do that, because if not, it doesn't look like
This
you're
is gonna be
going
my future home, right?
Or he has the option of withdrawing without prejudice.
Yeah,
So
well,
we can
you can withdraw without prejudice, and you have to start the process again, but my suggestion would be is come back with something else that's, maybe measure it, see how far you can get, be creative or whatnot, because,
I can go even with a house and go right to the meter, which is 22 feet.
yeah.
I mean, I would have to put the wall right against the meter.
I think you were ready to get a motion to that point. If it's, my guess is, I think you're gonna get a motion.
That's what it
So
takes.
do it.
If that's what it takes, I will go in front, even with the house all the way across.
We'll go even.
If that'll make the board,
All right, so I'll make a motion that we accept with the amended, we amend the application to include a 18-foot wide by 22 feet, even with the front of the house, with roof drains into a dry well.
You good with that?
I don't know.
Roof drains into a dry well, to make sure that your water's gonna go
Oh,
not all over the
roof is
place.
gonna go front to back.
Into a
Chris,
driveway.
explain.
So your gutter goes into a downspout, the downspout goes into a pipe, into a dry well into the ground, so not running on your
That's
neighbor's
easy
lawn.
enough. I have a little
Okay,
machine.
thank you. You explained it
I
earlier.
understand that now, yeah.
Fine.
And we're gonna make sure that the as-built shows,
Lot coverage. Thank you for reminding me, Mr. Chairman. So then the as-built submitted to the building commissioner includes the impervious land area calculated on the as-built.
to stay within the 25%, under the 25%.
That's right.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Are you, actually, you didn't say it. Are you?
I'm a nay.
You're a nay. Okay, we have one opposed. So 4 in favor, 1 against. Motion carries. So you're all set. And I usually turn it over to Kathy, but Mark, what's the process here? I
So it's a
know they go to
14-day
the,
written decision and then 20-day appeal
Right.
period. You go to the town clerk at the end of the 34 days, you pick up your decision, you go to the registry of deeds, you have it recorded, you go to the building department for your permit.
Thanks. And get my pictures back.
you can have your pictures back.
I only got one question.
The hearing's closed, but I will take your question real quick because we have another hearing we gotta get to.
Who's gonna check, make sure that he's doing this?
Building commissioner.
The building commissioner.
Building
Yes, sir.
commissioner, yes.
Do you want
If you
this
have
as
any
well?
issues, if you think anything's going wrong, once the permit is issued and goes through, the building commissioner's office is who you will get in touch with.
Sorry.
So,
You want a copy of that?
we'll need,
But here, Mark, we have a bunch, you brought four, we got a bunch.
I'll just need it revised to show the 18 by 20 flush.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, whatever it is.
It's 18 by 20.
Okay. All right, you can call me, so.
All right. Next on the agenda is the Dixon hearing.
Thank you all very much.
You're welcome. 36 Main Street. Okay, the Lakeville Zoning Board of Appeals, acting in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 48 as amended, will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, June 16th, in the Lakeville Public Library, 4 Precinct Street, on the petition of Julia Dixon.
So, would you just mind stepping out for a moment? This is my case, thank you.
Special permit under 6.1.3 and 7.4 is requested to extend the existing steel building to accommodate a 15 by 44 nap room for daycare dogs on a pre-existing non-conforming lot as provided by the Lakeville bylaws. The property site is 36 Main Street. The application, so the documents have been viewed by the planning department, have been in the planning department or by appointment. So, Ms. Dixon, how are you?
Good.
Don't worry, once we started, I was gonna ask him to leave anyways. I don't think anybody wants to hear me read the announcement. It's not real exciting. So in any event, okay, so usually what I start off with is, why don't you tell us what you're looking to do, and then I'll go through the documentation we have and go right ahead.
Thank you, good evening, my name is Julia Dixon. I am the owner of Pet Recess Doggy Daycare, Grooming and Boarding Facility in Lakeville, located at 36 Main Street. We currently have a steel building, which is part of the daycare. We have a converted garage, which is the nap room, where all the dogs take a nap between 12 and 2. They're like children, they become rambunctious in the middle of the day and they need to take a break. We are looking to relocate that nap room. And what we would like to do is to construct a 44 by 50, I can't remember, John, what did I write?
15.
A 15 by 44, I think it was. It's just a long, thin room that is going to be attached to the side of the daycare. And in that room will purely be, it will be an air-conditioned room, it will be a heated room, an insulated room, and there will be dog crates in there which will confine the dogs safely during nap time so that they can have their lunches, digest, sleep, and then go out for the afternoon play. It's within our property line. The area that it will free up will be just, it's already part of the indoor daycare, so it will just give us a little more space for the dogs to play.
Very good. Okay,
And also, sorry, John, just to add, there won't be any plumbing or anything like that. There is no water. I have spoken to Ed Cullen, and he has gone over it with me, and he said that he's absolutely fine with it. I don't know whether he gave you that information, but Nate told me to speak to him, which I did.
yeah, well, we have some letters from other boards who did review it that coincidentally I'm going to read into the record right now.
Okay.
So, we have a letter from the Board of Health to the Zoning Board of Appeals. We received a copy of the petition for hearing for 36 Main Street since the addition does not contain any plumbing or sewer, and the owner claims she is not increasing the number of dogs. The addition will not affect the septic system. Thus, the Board of Health has no objection to the proposed addition. We also have a letter from the Conservation Commission to the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Conservation Commission has reviewed this application for a 15 by 14 foot addition. It's a typo. We'll give Mr. Bouchard a pass on that one. It's actually 15 by 44 foot addition. There are no impacts to any wetlands in the area, therefore the Commission has no objection to this project. And we also have a memo from the Planning Board to the Board of Appeals at their June 9th, 2022 meeting. The Planning Board reviewed the above referenced petition for a hearing of the Board of Appeals, and the Board has no comments regarding this petition. So we do not have any issues or concerns with the other boards that normally comment on our petitions. Does the board have any questions at this point before I open it up to the audience?
Well, I have
Mr. Youngquist.
Yes, I have the same problem that I had with the other one. You have a proposed building kind of scratched out here. You're attaching a proposed addition to the proposed building.
Oh, no,
I'd like to know where the building is.
that's not the correct plan. There is an updated
Okay.
one that I provided. That building has already been approved. It's been up for
Okay.
7 years.
We have an as-built of it. Is that it right there?
Is it this small one that,
Yes.
okay.
I have a bigger.
Did you want me to point it out, John?
This is one.
Yeah, well, come over here, Julia, for a second.
Right there.
Listen,
Yeah, you got the same thing I got.
all right,
Oh, it is.
this guy right here is the guy you gotta convince.
That's all that we received.
Okay, so here's the doggy daycare that is already in existence.
Okay.
Okay, and hang on, just let me get. Oh no, I beg your pardon. So this is what has been built, and what we're proposing is going out 15 feet here and going along 44 feet here. So it's just a tiny little jut out. There'll be a door here. Currently, the crates are in this area, and it's just going to go into that roof area.
Then you can lay a wetlands and floodplain and stuff like that right on it.
So I think your question,
Yes.
Jeff, is you wanted to see a set of plans with the
Existing building.
with the
Whatever
addition.
was built.
That is exactly what was built there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This hasn't copied very clearly, but this is the indoor daycare. This is the building.
Type in over here.
That is the building. Well,
Type in garage.
that's the same one my son blew up. This is from yours, we blew it up.
That's right.
You take it here and you can
So what's the setback from
tone it down.
the lot line to the new proposed structure?
You know,
It says on this one, doesn't say on this one, or this one,
It's the
this
same.
one. But it says on this one, to the proposed new building, it's supposed to be 32.5 feet and 31.5 feet. That's what it's proposed. This is proposed building.
So this doesn't have the set, this doesn't have the,
No,
huh?
it's not.
But this has the setback here, right?
Yeah, it's a setback too.
In other words, after it's done, sometimes it doesn't come out exact, so they usually you could do a set of plans after the fact to say, listen, it's actually, you know,
label it.
32 or 32.3 or whatever it ends up.
This would be labeled as as-built drawing. This would be, title would be as-built drawing, not a site plan.
We actually have a whole load of parking now, and we're just going to go rid of some of the parking. It's a small addition 15 foot, then it's well within our boundary.
So this is the septic as-built.
Well, Mr. Young,
Who's the
what
person
do you think about
what's
what
your
you are looking for? So,
Oh,
yeah.
you're a butter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Which side?
And you know where.
Hang tight,
Yeah.
hang tight. We'll stay up here first, and then he's gonna get his,
So.
I'm gonna say day in court, but day at the podium, so.
No, that's the only question I have is we're gonna have to start having a
Formalized process.
formalized process. Okay. Okay, just when it comes in for as-built or whatever, if you're proposing a building off of a building, should have setbacks from the new addition, draw the addition on there, show it to the, somebody who's willing to stamp it, show it to the property line, how far the actual building is off the property line.
And then we can figure out what we're gonna allow at that point.
And the impervious coverage.
And the impervious coverage.
Back lot line.
Right, I mean, we have
What does the
nothing.
impervious coverage mean?
How much area you're covering with your building that like water can't saturate into the ground with?
And that includes,
Yeah, because that wasn't on the other
any
one, was it?
structure or
Like pavement,
Pavement,
paved areas, buildings,
I think it might be
anything that the water's not gonna get through, because then what happens is it starts running off into other
Are these,
places.
I haven't been out here in a long time, are these gravel or they're asphalt? The
How
apartment?
far is your drive? I'm sorry, do you mind if I ask you?
Go right ahead, yeah.
Sure, right ahead.
How far is your?
The right of way is.
It's off the ground, that's what you said was meant to be, yeah.
So,
And then this will be a
you're,
No.
what he's asking multi-purpose,
That's the
penetration,
Right, so-
no property owner.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's
in that
big,
case, that area, all of this is gravel?
This gravel.
Yes, it's not a paved road.
The road is paved from where the addition will be. It goes all the way up to the small house where that Baldy owns.
So it's going towards Baldy's.
That's irrelevant
Yeah,
because
that's got part of it.
that's not your property.
The addition is so
The
narrow.
addition, your addition is not paved.
I've never seen that either,
I mean, your lot.
but that, as of 19, whatever, 2015. Right. 2015.
So I'm a little confused as well, so let me just bring up 2021 GIS image into this, and we can all figure it out. So this is existing, correct? This is already here, new addition says?
Yes.
the
And you're
addition.
proposing to come here on this side?
Just,
Don't touch it.
oh, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
coming out 14 feet this way.
This way,
and
so
down
it's
that
gonna
way.
be in this direction towards Baldy's?
Correct.
Not towards the rear of the property?
Correct.
All right, we're all on the same page now. I was confused as well.
Okay.
Okay,
You got that right?
so it's gonna be over here in the parking lot towards the Baldy's side?
Yes.
That's
And we
where the
don't,
house is.
and we don't know
From the
the,
corner to the air conditioning, basically.
we have something here showing us anything?
We have this one over here,
That's
it
right
says,
there. We got right there. is
this
all we
says
got.
to the proposed
Actually-
building was 32.5 and 31.5.
And then you're gonna do 15, so you're about what, 16, 17 off the property line now? Okay.
So if she was 32 and a half for the new building, so if she's asking for 15, so I'd say.
Be 17 and a half.
17 and a half, right?
Yeah,
Are those measurements, where those measurements come from, I'm just
Right.
curious, were the tape measured to the driveway, or was
When-
that from?
We good with that?
Right, so,
Okay.
may I show it away?
Hang on one second, just let me finish up here first, so we don't get too out of control. Do you have any other questions?
No, that's my concern.
That's your concern?
I just think we're gonna have to tighten up the drawings.
Yeah.
Jerry?
From a mechanical standpoint, I know you talked about heating, air conditioning, and all that stuff. Where are those located?
They're already located, they're mini splits in the daycare.
So you
And we
just-
just add another vent, the compressor is quite big enough,
Okay, very
the
good.
condenser's big enough to do it.
Okay.
Any Chris's have questions?
I'm dying to hear from the butter in the back. I wanna hear his points and his concerns.
You're gonna get it in one set,
Absolutely.
depending on these other two guys, if they don't have any questions, he's up next. You guys have any questions, or?
No, I would just reiterate what Jeff and Jerry have been saying about
We'll tighten this up a little
tightening
bit,
things up.
especially for
Yeah. We're
stuff that's already been approved.
Kind of flying blind on
Yeah,
scratched
well,
out
yeah, I mean,
drawings.
that's a valid point. If we have something that was approved, but then we don't actually have the updated plans, that's one thing to say, you're putting something on, I'm gonna kind of sketch what I'm doing, but we're working off of something that hasn't actually
Okay.
I understand.
Not your fault.
No, I understand.
So, all right, you're up. Seems like you're the most interesting party at this event. So, name and address.
Daniel Ferreira, 1 Patrick Thomas Court. So if you're familiar, the right-of-way that's on that plan is Patrick Thomas Court.
Right.
It's basically a driveway. I'm the only house out back. So my property abuts the back of the daycare. So there's a couple of different things I want to bring up. So the lines and the measurements on that are kind of arbitrary. There's a 40-foot right-of-way going through Patrick Thomas Court is a 40-foot right-of-way. So I don't know if the right-of-way is through part of her property or if which I think it is, because if you look at the map.
Come on.
So,
Where are we? This is the court right here.
right. So basically, the driveway.
Shows it here.
Right, so that's the driveway. That's Patrick Thomas Court, right? So my house is back here.
Yeah,
Is
that's you.
this you here, this gravel?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we're talking about.
So the gravel, Baldy's is over here, the little house is here, the daycare, proposed, building is here. So the gravel road turns into asphalt or about here that goes all the way down to my driveway. This is a 40-foot wide easement for my house to go back. So I don't know where the 40-foot is, if it's the, a center of the road or if it's off one side or the other, but there could potentially be no room there at all from what I
So
understand.
your concern is we want accurate dimensions to make sure that when you're putting it on, that we're not assuming, all right, we're 15 feet, 20 feet, 17 feet off of here, and we find out the actual, you're only 2 feet off because.
Right, so I
even though it
don't know,
doesn't-
the other question of mine is, are we considered this frontage? Like, I don't know what the side setback is, I know it's non-conforming already, but is this a side or a front? Because it's a road that goes
Side
through
yard.
the front. So it's a side of her property, but it's Patrick Thomas Court. When I put my garage on, we considered Patrick Thomas Court my frontage. So my house sits perpendicular to.
So your question is, does she have frontage on both sides, Main Street and
And
Patrick?
as a business, is it, and before I even go any further, they've been great neighbors. I bought the house after it was already a dog daycare. So I have, my biggest concerns are the further they come out. Right now, there's already employee parking along Patrick Thomas Court that, their bumpers already come out to the pavement, right? So if we come out 15 more feet, where are they gonna park? And is it gonna block my access to my house?
Yeah, I agree with Chris. I'm not so much worried about where we're considering the setback being on that road or not. Yeah, we used it because of where your house is sitting. I remember when you came before us for the garage. But you do have a valid point. I mean, I think we really need to clarify that right away, that easement, because that could create a lot of headaches for a lot of people if we
Right,
act
it's not just
not
me, it's the
knowing where it
Commonwealth
is.
also that's got an easement for the field out back.
Yeah, yeah, we don't want you to build something, find out later that it's, that easement is closer than you thought, and now all of a
When
sudden,
I actually bought the property, it was established that the trees there were on my property and I had to pay $500 to get them taken down. So if it wasn't my property in the first place, why was I told to do that? And it was the town that requested me to do it.
No,
So it
before my time.
clearly is the property line there. And otherwise, why would I be asked to take the trees down?
so somebody must have already surveyed where the easement is then.
I mean, the place has been surveyed, I've heard so many times.
Right, when you put the fence up, you gotta survey it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So as long as you know what your property line is to,
I understand what you're saying.
right, but then you can get an accurate measurement from the property line to your building you already have. So by taking a measurement from the building you have to the edge of the road, that doesn't really consist as that doesn't count as an accurate measurement.
But at the same time, it's not really
Something with either privately owned.
to the back, because you pay for that area anyway. I mean, it's a wide road, it's wide enough for
Whatever
two
this
cars.
is set up.
So, all the gravel is just the gravel, but it's I put that gravel down because it's all
There
over
should
grass.
be,
Just to compress it. So, I mean, I don't have any concerns about it, but if you feel that I need to go and do surveys, then
Well,
you
I'm not gonna ask you this, tell me, could you explain to me this,
It's gonna be
explain to
surveyed
them that
anyway
this is
if it's a
something
new
that
structure.
probably not gonna have to pay to get money
I'm
for,
sorry, I'm not
probably
hearing.
should.
So through the commissioner, so the building's gonna have to be, and have an as-built anyway.
Right,
So you're gonna have to include a land surveyor regardless.
Okay.
So it's a new footprint, they require a land surveyor. At least we generally is done, so I can't speak for the commissioner in this town, but any new property usually is required to be drawn on an as-built and submitted after the
Is
foundation
that
is
what happens
poured.
in any property if you just require an addition to it?
99% of the time, yes. So I can't speak for the commissioner in this town. So Mark would be able to speak a little bit better to it, maybe?
I'm
I know
not
he's new as
entirely
well.
sure what
Okay.
his requirements are, but,
Right.
I mean, it is.
I was just hoping it would be.
It has
simple,
been
just-
required.
It depends,
So
yeah.
I do have a question, because we were talking about the road, and this relates to your questions. So, this plan that was done.
2015.
Yeah, when you were proposing to do the addition, it doesn't clarify what this right-of-way is. It doesn't issue, it says Commonwealth of Mass, and then it gives a date, and then it says it's a 40-foot right-of-way. Let me finish. It says it's a 40-foot right-of-way, also known as Patrick Thomas Court. It doesn't say whether this is a strip of land owned by the Commonwealth that goes with the fields in the back.
Right.
That you have a right-of-way, and you have a right-of-way, and maybe.
I think there's only two. I'm not sure, I'm positive.
Or if it's a private way in which the abutters, wherever you are, you own halfway to the center. So I think that the surveyor needs to clarify what this is, so the board can determine which setback applies and where. Because is this owned by the Commonwealth? Is it a private right-of-way that?
No.
Does it
used
run
to be years ago.
across? Because it doesn't, your property shows a bound in the back corner along the right of way, but it appears that you may not own it, so, I mean, that needs to get clarified as well, so that the board can then determine which is the proper setback to apply here.
I'm sorry, what was that, Julia?
I don't own the right of way. I only own that. The right of way is the road that you go up to your house.
Yeah, but someone has the fee in the land of the right of way.
The Commonwealth owns the right of way.
The
When
Commonwealth.
you look at that 65-acre field on Bridge Street, there's a small, narrow Patrick Thomas Court that goes all the way to Main Street.
Oh, so the Commonwealth does own that strip of land?
Yes.
Okay, and then,
So if it's a 40-foot right of way, and I only have about 12 feet paved, right? I have a feeling
We don't know if
it either goes on Baldy's land.
I was just gonna say, we don't know if it goes
on the dog kennel land a lot.
20 feet to the right and 5 feet to the left or
Or
whatever,
assuming that
or
the
just
road
split
is-
in the middle and.
Right, we don't know that. But my point is, we're already non-conforming. But we don't know how far non-conforming we already are, so as far as setbacks go. So if it's, if you want to call it a 20-foot setback for that zone, I don't know what it is right now, because if you consider it a side setback or a front setback.
Yeah, we'd probably consider it a side, but.
Okay, so it's probably 20 feet,
Right.
right?
40.
Is it 40?
Is it 40?
In
Side?
business, in business.
Oh, in
Side,
business.
Residential is
Right.
20.
You're right. Yep.
So a 40, it's way, it's.
So it's pre-existing
close.
Yeah, we know what's gonna be into it anyways, but my bigger concern is what you had said, if it's a 12-foot, if it's 12 feet right now, that driveway, literally what you have, right? If it's 40 feet, but it's all 40 feet towards your property, then realistically, you have
It's already-
very
it's
little,
inside
you're
the
probably,
building,
yeah, you're almost at the building at this point. So, Jeff,
Yes.
what's the easiest way for us to figure out where that,
I've seen the maps from the Commonwealth.
yeah,
I don't have one, in my possession, but I've seen.
can we get one of those, Jeff?
Yes, we probably can. Yes, I probably have one.
Well, I'm not asking you to get it, but registry of deeds or
The
something.
registry of
For-
deeds, they're in the registry.
For Ms. Dixon to go grab one, not right this second, but so that we can figure out where it is. Because the problem is, if we find out that
Survey done?
well, I mean, the survey is the best thing to do, because then you're gonna actually have it stamped and you're gonna know where it
Survey's
is,
gonna
but.
tell you where her land is, but if the right of way goes through her land and through Baldy's land, that's what I'm saying is,
Well, the survey's gonna tell them exactly where it is, but my point is, if you go and find out, here's, if you can get something without doing a survey that's showing that that right of way is already only, 8 feet from your building, if you're gonna put this on for 15 feet, you automatically know you're gonna be in the right of way, which honestly, we couldn't even, I don't think we could approve that. That would,
No, we could not.
we would be.
I wasn't even aware of the rights of way.
okay.
I've never been told that.
We both learned something tonight, how's that? Fortunately.
Mr. Pink is still in business, so if he has all the information, he would be.
Well, he's not using it.
Huh? He's not anymore?
Well, he works with
Zenith.
across Zenith with Jamie Bissonette.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he works with Jamie now, so. All right, other questions, issues, comments?
I don't know if it'd be planning or what, I just, the right of way, the setbacks are my biggest concern. Mostly because of parking, because, where everybody parks now is already lined up to the road. So, I know this is a hearing on, basically where it goes, but you probably don't.
Well, no, I mean, it impacts it because we make approvals, especially if you're gonna be within setbacks. When we make those decisions, we wanna make sure there is no negative impact.
Right, so the
on
negative
neighbors.
impact of taking up parking is where the cars go.
So I have a question. So I just came from there, that's why I was late. So there was several cars parked along the side, up to about where this addition would go.
Those are either tenants and employees.
Right. So, but when it's busier during the day, because I was there at almost 7 o'clock. So when it's busier during the day, how far down do employees park? Because it looks like all along the building, there's no grass in the gravel. It's all worn out, nothing grows, because it looks like you park all the way up to the end. And then there's a fenced area where there's still some gravel, but it doesn't look like that last.
It's sometimes it's parked in, and it's sometimes, it depends on how busy it is out
It's not there
front.
permanently, obviously, they're there for that shift and then they go home, so they're not classes with everyone.
Right. So if they added this addition, they're gonna lose a bunch of the parking.
So this is, Main Street's behind us.
Yes.
Obviously, this is the new building, that's already there, they're gonna come out, about here, 44 feet, out 15 feet. The cars are already out to the pavement.
Right.
So where that pickup truck and the white car are, those are gonna move out farther, closer to the
Yes,
street?
well, it's further in the back here.
Well, yeah, so the proposed building is from the rear of that building,
Right.
44 feet this way.
Push that
So
out.
there's a dumpster and other vehicles that utilize it, so, I just don't think it fits,
Have you ever had any?
I know what you're talking about.
Have you had any access problems?
No, once in a great while, if they do I don't know what you call some of the weekend things, you have little parties with the dogs. It's not very often. Sometimes they park, customers will come, but they don't know any better. They probably don't know there's a house down there.
But nothing's scary, the employees
No,
never get.
I've gotten along with the people who run the daycare I've been there for, 4 years now.
Your issue is basically, by the sounds.
I think it's gonna choke out the
If we
whole
put it,
access
if
point.
you want to guard against putting an addition on that's gonna impact access and encroach that right away.
Right.
So cars are potentially in it, or it becomes that much
And
tighter.
honestly, I think once you determine the property lines, it's probably not gonna work even if I didn't pose it. That's my feeling.
Can I go in a little different direction? How's the noise level? Are you okay with that?
It's a dog kennel, I bought it.
Right, I
I bought
get it,
the,
but how is it?
I don't want it any worse. If this impact, I know it's not supposed to
That's a
increase the
concern. You're the
level.
only residential neighbor, and you did buy next to it. I get that, but, if she expands this and makes more room for more dogs.
Well, that's why I was asking.
No, there won't be any.
Well, no,
There
she,
won't be any more
no,
dogs?
yeah, Chris,
Okay.
she had it, she put it on the record, it's
Okay.
just the map.
If there is a problem with the noise, would you be able to put up a screening in the back to cut down on that?
I built kind of a berm, a dirt
Did you?
berm in the back, and I
So
put my
you're
garage
okay.
facing it to make a buffer,
Good,
just so
good.
just
Just
so
wanna
when
make
I
sure you're
walk
happy.
around my garage, they don't see me.
You know what a noise
Yeah, across the fence. So, I mean, I've done what I can.
It's not an issue.
Chickens, they'll stop
It's not an
barking
issue.
at them.
I don't think it's, you've said it's, you bought next to a kennel, and you knew there was gonna be barking.
Good attitude.
And you're not adding,
I don't know, do you know how many dogs you're approved for now?
It's about 100 a day.
100. So 100 dogs makes noise. 150 dogs make more
It's
noise.
actually in daycare, they're not. I mean, when you go into the kennels and put them in at night, which is further away from you, they'll make a noise for a while and then they'll settle back down.
Oh, I know the routine.
My manager and her husband actually live there, and their bedroom is literally feet from the kennels, so they don't.
And I did see in the special permit, you're gonna insulate the walls and try to do as
Oh,
best you
God, yeah,
can.
you have to, because it's
Yeah.
not going to be comfortable for the
Right.
dogs, it's not about.
Okay.
It's about-
No,
Do you guys have the number of capacity of dogs?
It doesn't
It
say.
says it doesn't.
we don't have the capacity, we just.
So I called and asked a few questions between the building department and planning, and normally when a business comes in, I mean, because I've done it myself, you'll have a parking plan, you'll have where employees are parking, where, there's a lot of different things that go into it. How the amount of dogs that are allowed to be there, you know, a plan on dumpsters, a plan on disposal of waste, all that sort of thing. I couldn't find anything on record. They couldn't get back to me with any of those things. So I was just calling just to confirm and ask the questions. Like I said, they've been great. There's no issues at all. But you know, I didn't want it to get bigger. You know.
It won't be getting bigger.
Well, she's on the record as
Well,
saying.
if we don't have a
keep it-
baseline of where we're, like, they couldn't tell
I
me.
said I have a baseline because you know what, it's a safety issue. I'm not going to put any of dogs in my care at risk. And the more dogs you have, the more you're at risk, and if you staff it properly, you have proper restraints and all the rest of it. And I do that
Mark,
when I'm inspected every year.
Where would, what board would have that info? Where would that, who would he go to
There
if he wants
is
that
only just
information?
starting. It's
Let me,
I'm sorry.
thanks.
Well, the original building permit, because
Business licensing, maybe?
yeah, it would either be with the building commissioner for when they originally built the building and expanded it to a certain point, and maybe there was some representation or a number approved. Secondly, business licensing could also have limited the number of animals. And thirdly, I don't know whether you have to get license from some state office that inspects or.
The animal control officer comes annually.
What?
The animal control, so that's the
Oh,
town.
animal control locally
Yeah.
does inspect.
And I have to tell you something, actually, this may be of interest to you. When I bought this property, it had been a kennel for 30 years.
Okay.
A commercial kennel for 30 years. And I had to go before a board to be approved for a boarding kennel because the animal control officer had not issued a correct kennel license for that kennel in 30 years. It was a $900 application, and I made sure that I got the right applications and I'd done everything through the books. And I was in a really embarrassing situation to buy a kennel and find that it wasn't licensed for that amount of time. That's not right. That's not right at all. So, you know, I just want to let you know that I do things by the book. I always get the correct permission from the correct people, and it will continue to be that way.
I believe Julia does. She's been before us before. From, if my memory serves me correct, it was a little while ago when you did buy it, so,
I've
but
been
yeah.
in that building now for 7 years.
So I think what we need to do at this point, honestly, it's a justified request, but for your benefit too, because you could run into a real headache if we don't know where that easement actually starts and doesn't start. So I think the first step is let's find out exactly where that easement width is, how far it goes into your property.
So I go to an engineer and I request what?
Yep. An instrument survey from a registered land surveyor.
I'm sorry, I read hearing aids and I'm having trouble.
Instrument survey from a registered land surveyor. Jonathan, you can fill you in a lot better than I can.
Here's what to do. John Pink did your work before, right?
Yeah, but go see Zenith.
Yeah, go see Zenith and say, John Pink did this to me before.
Okay,
We need to turn around and.
Tell them they need to update it.
okay.
But preferably I would like to see where the existing building, the new building,
Yes.
is relationship to the parking lot.
Okay.
And then for them to put on their proposed addition and give me the distance from that to the property line. And I want to know if that,
In the easement.
yeah, if this is where the easement starts, or where is the easement?
Right, yeah.
That's all we need to know.
Okay, that's fine, thank you very much.
And the
And
impervious coverage.
you would be able
And the
to
impervious
find,
coverage.
Hang on,
Yeah,
hang on.
and it's true.
Go ahead, Josh, you got a question?
What?
you would be able to find a plan showing the Commonwealth
If-
right of way?
If they did it correctly,
Okay.
I think this right away comes from the hospital.
No, it used to, now it's Department of Agriculture.
It is
So
Department-
you could go to the states for the Department of
But-
Agriculture and
but-
get that mapping.
But when did it originally?
It originally was the state hospital.
It was the state hospital. There is, if you go to the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds, and Niles or Jamie can do it, and go research, we call it Thomas Court, all you have to do is type it in, and it will pop up if there is a plan in the state. If not, there should be a deed describing this. And hopefully it doesn't say, 20 feet either side of the center line. If it does, then we have a problem.
Okay. All right. Great.
Yeah, then we might need a variance for a side setback as well. So
Right.
I think that's ties into this. So just to confirm, we get it all right and legally. Because I don't know if that measurement is to the easement, is that property line, or is it?
Yeah, we're guessing on everything.
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
Because we don't
Right.
know where it is.
So you might need a variance on a side setback too, so we just want to make sure we're getting it right. Like you said, do it all by the book, so.
Right, I prefer to. I
Absolutely.
really don't want anybody coming back
No.
to me and saying you need to take that down.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. That's not fun. Not fun for anybody, especially the person who put the money into putting it up, so.
Absolutely.
Could I add one more suggestion?
Sure.
Just add in the parking for customer employee parking, because I think what we were talking about before is that comes out, the new addition comes out, father pushes back some of your employee parking, how does that impact the right of way, the easement? So it might be helpful to understand exactly how you might want to adjust the parking.
Okay,
Okay?
yep, thank you very much.
Okay.
You good?
I'm good.
Anybody else
I'll make a
have any
motion
other
to
questions?
continue.
Okay, no other questions? Motion to
Nope.
continue. We have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sorry we couldn't dispose of it tonight for you, but we want to get it, right.
We do indeed. Thank
All
you
right,
very much.
you're welcome. Okay. 2 down, 1 to go. So, the next hearing is for TAC Vega LLC. Lakeville Zoning Board of Appeals, acting in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 48 as amended, will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, June 16th in the Lakeville Public Library at 4 Precinct Street upon the petition of TAC Vega MA Owner LLC. A variance under 5.1 and 8.2.2 is requested to allow the lot coverage to exceed the maximum allowed with the density bonus of 70% by 3% for a total of 73%. Property site is 310 Kenneth Welch Drive. Who is here representing TAC?
I am.
And your name, sir?
My name is Terrence Russell. I work for Epstein in Chicago. The address is 600 West Fulton Street, and I'm representing Vega Strategic. We're the engineering company that put together the drawing in front of you.
Great, okay. Well, what I usually start out with before I start reading other correspondence into the record is why don't you just give us the overview of what you're looking to do, which I think we know is to increase the maximum allowed coverage by 3% to 73%, but a little bit of the reason why you're asking for this.
Sure. It's actually started back in January. We've been working with the planning board on, for one of the other tenants in the building to add additional parking. As you may or may not know, the building was originally built as a storage facility, and now there are 2 medical cannabis growers operating out of that facility. So the parking requirements have changed dramatically since it was built. And the cars tend to line up on Kenneth Welch Drive. They park on each side. And the planning board basically told us that if you need to go to the building owner and do a comprehensive site plan that takes into account not only one of the tenants, but both tenants in the building. So Vega Strategic hired us in March to do a number of things, one of which is to redelineate the wetlands that are on the site, which we've done, and they've been surveyed, and to come up with a comprehensive parking plan for both tenants where it would give them enough space essentially to park on the property and not on the street. And the plan in front of you is the result of this effort.
So basically, the additional 3% is strictly needed to comply with the planning board's request or wish to get rid of the parking problem and having the
Correct.
employees, I think, for the most part, my understanding, parking all over the place other than where they should be parking, which there isn't
Correct.
space for them to park. Okay.
Correct.
I'm going to read a couple of memos into the record here from other boards. We have a memo from the Board of Health, the Lakeville Zoning Board of Appeals. We received a copy of the petition for hearing for 310 Kenneth Welch Drive and are concerned with the grading in the parking area over the leaching area. A grading plan dated 2/3/22 proposes to remove more than 1.58 feet over the leaching field. This would render the leaching field unusable. The Board of Health requests that the applicant submit a plan showing the elevation of the existing septic plan and the proposed grading to ensure the existing septic system is not altered. The Board of Health objects to any change that would alter the existing septic system. Should you have any questions, please feel free to call this office. That was dated June 6th. We also have a memo from the Conservation Commission dated June 13th to the Zoning Board of Appeals. The applicant has proposed changes in the parking areas for the site. A small amount of impervious coverage is proposed. Due to the extensive wetland areas within the 100-foot buffer zone and the nature and extent of disturbed area, the Commission will require the submittal of a request for determination of applicability. And we also have a memo from the Planning Board dated June 13th to the Board of Appeals at their Thursday, June 9th, 2022 meeting. The Planning Board reviewed the above referenced petition for hearing from the Board of Appeals. The Planning Board recommends the Zoning Board continue the 310 Kenneth Welch Drive petition until after the Planning Board has received and reviewed satisfactory site and landscape plan. Please see the attached additional information that the Planning Board would like to have distributed to the Zoning Board. And everybody did receive in their packet some correspondence from the Planning Board and a whole bunch of other information that is on record, but I am not going to read out loud at this point. I think at this point what I'd like to do is I am going to ask Mark to give us kind of an overview. Obviously the Planning Board has been reviewing this site on and off for quite a while now, so why don't you give us the update, since they have a recommendation that we continue this until they've finished with what they're doing.
So basically this site has come back to the Planning Board multiple times as the businesses, the two marijuana growing operations have grown themselves, expanded, and now a new owner has purchased the property, and the storage facility that remained in the building are leaving, and the entire building is going to be operated by split between the two current growing operations. So that's the need for the additional parking. Currently they're pretty tight, which is why some people park on the street. So additional parking is required. Remember, this was really designed for cold storage, parking, a lot more trucks and fewer employees, and now they're trying to reuse an existing building. So, I mean, it's created the hardship here trying to make it work. So, primarily the back corner of the westernmost parking area, the one on the left of the plan, is all new. That's what requires the parking. They've been back to the Planning Board kind of in various stages, and now they're trying to make one site plan for the entire thing and try and be done with it. The Planning Board's concern, the reason for that memo, is that they wanted kind of an enhanced landscape plan based on the zoning that lets them get to 70%, the higher lot coverage. And so, so that's why they would like to review, even though we won't issue a site plan approval until after this variance is granted, but they kind of asked to see the enhanced landscape plan beforehand. So that's the reason for the request for the continuance.
So it sounds like they're not necessarily opposed to the additional 3% because it solves an issue that's problematic within the industrial park to begin with. They're parking all over the place, and there's a variety of issues with that. But they would like them to take care of business first on their end.
Yeah.
Before we
exactly. I mean, they won't quote approve the site plan until you approve the variance, but they did want to review the landscaping because that's what kind of kicks off the extra up to the 70%. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes. I have a question. We have a board of health memo here that references some issues with the leaching field based on the proposed work that you guys are going to do. Have you talked to the Board of Health yet? Where are you with that?
No, we have not. This is the first I've heard of their concern. I know there's a leaching field on site, and our investigations cannot prove that it's actually active. At least the tenant that we're familiar with in the building on the east side, their connection to that leaching field is actually not active. It's been disconnected. And the other tenant, we can't verify that either. I know that the one tenant, all of the waste goes to a tank that's been buried and is pumped virtually every other day. Because these facilities produce a lot of wastewater, it goes into different tanks. The toilets really are pretty minimal in these facilities. So we'll do some further investigation if I can have a copy of the letter and see how we can best address it.
You absolutely can have a copy of the letter. And obviously you'll have to submit a request for determination of applicability based on the memo from the Conservation Commission as well. You're more than welcome to have both of mine because I just printed them out. Questions from the other board members? I'll start with you, Jerry. Anything? I have no questions. Jeff?
No, I don't.
No question.
Chris?
No, I think the other boards need to be heard from. So I'd like to see conservation order conditions from them. I'd like to see the planning board's concerns addressed, and then hopefully we can give them a determination.
Okay. So based on what we're seeing here, let me ask this question. Is there anything in regards to the 3% that we see outside of looking to make sure they're in compliance with the Board of Health and that the landscaping and whatnot? Do we have any questions? And the only reason I ask is if there's anything we would like to know, my gut feeling is we're going to continue this. I prefer to have the applicant do some research in the meantime as opposed to wait for the other boards and then come back and start asking questions. So we have the opportunity, they're here now, if there's anything we would be interested in knowing. It seems pretty cut and dry to me, but
It's specific to the variance, correct?
yeah.
I really don't have any concerns on it. It's just that, you know, they're probably thinking, we'll spend all this money and come in and we won't grant you the 3%.
Yeah. Again, we need to hear all the responses from the other boards and get their recommendations.
Understood.
But I think Mark actually made a good point. You know, this building was initially designed for warehouse that maybe had X amount of cars that would come in. Not that there's that much traffic here now, but there's a lot more than there would have been. Everything's, you know, relative, but I do think it potentially does get rid of an issue that I know they do have quite a bit of issue with down in that industrial park because of that. Chris?
Yeah, so when this originally came in front of us a couple years ago, they had put that lolly-shaped parking lot in the front, Exactly, you grimace just like I did that night. It's horribly designed, it doesn't really get a lot.
It doesn't work.
Exactly, and
I know.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to say I told you so, but I was
You can say
against
it.
it then.
Go right ahead. Tell us.
You can say I wasn't involved back then,
All
so
right,
yeah. you're
so
fine.
I objected to it back then because it made no sense to me. And would
still
there be
doesn't.
any thoughts to redoing the front area for a parking lot as well? And redesigning that?
It's on the drawing.
Have you? All right.
Yeah,
So
the
that hasn't
redesign is
been
on the drawing. We're essentially getting rid
I
of
thought you
it.
were just doing the back area up by.
No, it's
No,
the.
I'm not. I'm not.
Here, yeah, there's no circle area.
This front
It's the
area.
front area and the back.
Yeah, there's no,
Excellent. All right, so mine, I take it back then, I apologize.
it looks like what you want it to look like.
You want the full size?
I feel better already.
Actually, if you'd like a color,
I just thought, I saw the highlighted area on one of the drawings, just showing the back area. So no, you are addressing it.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
mentioned the back corner because that area isn't
That's
graded at all, but that's
Yeah.
kind of left natural. But the front area, yes.
How many employees?
I mean, the way I look at it is the issue is these people are parking there anyways now, whether they're parking
On the grass,
on the
yeah.
grass or on someone else's property, or, that's gonna continue to happen unless we create a solution.
My question is, if you're, that many parking spots, how many employees do you have?
do they have?
How many that's going to?
It's tough to answer. Well, one, because both of the operations are expanding. Second is that they have multiple shifts throughout the day. So if I tell you they have 160 employees, they have multiple shifts, and they don't always come in every single day of the week. It's based on the cultivation process and the harvesting process.
What's the maximum per shift, I guess?
So that would be around 80.
That would be a good thing to know a little bit more definitively, only because I think if we had known that, Mr. Carmichael may have gotten his wish and gotten
So
rid of
that would be
a
for
while
one of the
ago.
growers. The other one, they're comparable in size. Northeast Alternatives is a little bit larger than Jushi is, Nature's Remedy.
But that would be helpful, because this is all about parking, correct?
It's all about parking.
So if we know what the maximum amount on a shift would be, we can make sure that we have enough spots, so we don't have to see, not you
Correct.
personally, but someone back here 2 years from now, because we thought it was 80, but now it's 120 type of deal.
If this thing was designed as cold storage, and now you're turning it with hardly any employees, with 80 employees, your septic system is woefully under-designed. Whatever exists in there right now, it's.
Well, that's why they have tanks, and they pump the tanks several times a week.
Well, I'm sure the Board of Health will figure that out, because they
I
got it on the radar now.
Yep.
Jerry?
So you have tight
So, sorry.
There's one in the back for the wastewater from the growing
Okay.
process. And then there's also one that takes a lot of the drainage and things when they wash it down. It's a very sanitary, very scientific operation.
I'd like to hear from the Board of Health then. I'd like to hear a statement from them.
Oh, I'm sure they're gonna
All right.
let us know.
Okay.
Sure.
Jerry?
So, when you're talking about staffing each of the shifts, is that currently at 100% staffing? Or do you expect the staffing to grow with expanded operations? What's your
I
forecast?
know at least with the one tenant, Northeast Alternatives, they're expanding now into the remaining portion of the cold storage facility. So they're expected to grow. The numbers that we had received from Northeast Alternatives, I believe, take that expansion into account.
We should just clarify that. We
Yeah.
want to make
I'll
sure
get the- I'll
maximum
get it clarified.
potential maybe is the best way to put it.
Yep.
So. Other questions? So who do I keep hearing bagpipes back there?
I do, I hear drums and bagpipes.
I've been hearing them for an hour.
Well, that's funny, they just started playing a half an hour ago, so I don't know what's going on. Jerry, you good?
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Mark, any other comments you'd like to add, or do we cover it?
No, I think we
Good. Well, anyone want to make a motion to continue?
I make a motion we continue to the end, till all the questions are answered. How about that?
July, yes.
Yes.
Do we have a
We've
second?
got statements from all pertinent, police, fire, Board of Health, planning,
Yes.
conservation, everybody. I'd like to have
Everybody.
in-depth statements from everybody.
We have a motion to continue. Do we have a second?
I'll second. I'll be the second guy.
Any further
Sure
discussion?
you don't want to.
All those in favor of continuing till July? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Gonna be busy in July.
Thank you, sir. See you next month.
Mr. Resnick, can I speak with you?
Yeah.
About,
All right, that brings us to
Celtics game.
approval of minutes. No, we've got 20 minutes. I'm gonna keep you guys here for 15 more minutes. Everyone lives in Lakeville. How long is it gonna take you to get home?
It takes me a minute and a half.
Exactly, we can, so you've just given me the liberty to go 18 minutes. I'm sure the rest of the board will appreciate that. So we have some minutes from May to approve. Anyone had a chance to review those and want to make a motion to approve them, or?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks, you better.
Any old business? Any new business? How about a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 8:40 PM, 20 minutes before tip-off.
Absolutely.